back.
Are you ready?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm ready. I've blown my nose. I've gone pee. I've got water. I am good to go.
You've got all the essentials. Your mom would be so proud. Thank you.
Okay, so
Bye.
can you see me okay and everything? Okay, I assume so.
I can see you, yes. So I'm going to put myself on mute now.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, gang. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me here today. Sorry I was a little late. What was happening was we were deep in a strategy session for a podcast. So I'm looking to release a podcast. I said this morning on this morning's 10 and 10, I'd bring you up to speed on what we're doing behind the scenes to launch all that. So I'll have that coming up soon. I got some more announcements as well that I want to share with you before we dig into the Q&A. We're going to get to lots of Q&A today, so have no fear. But one of the things that I do want to share is that we've got some the bonuses that we get to look forward to. Those are coming up soon. So those bonuses in particular are the ones where we're going to be speaking with there's 3 separate individuals who had no expertise, had no audience, and no list. And they quickly grew an audience and ultimately a list, and one in particular is it's their Facebook group has now become the #1 lead source for their growing membership site. We're going to be talking to them about how they did that from scratch. How did they begin building their audience within a Facebook group from scratch with no existing audience, no existing list, etc. That's all coming up very soon. Second bonus, which is fun, I was meeting with the team today, we were talking about this, is the behind the scenes. Oh, I'm getting a message. Would you like to stop? It's telling me if my internet video goes down, it looks a little choppy or what have you, just let me know. And I may have to just shut it off, and we'll put up something because it's telling me that my connection is a little spotty. So I apologize. But anyway, the second bonus is the behind the scenes of us developing a brand new membership site. Now, here's what I will tell you. We have since now got another membership site idea. There's actually 2 that we're going to bring you behind the scenes on, and I'm not going to announce it yet, but there's actually an additional bonus that we're going to give you. We're going to be giving 3 months absolutely free to one of the membership sites. It's a $300 value. I think you're going to really dig it because one of the top questions that's come up is people want to see behind the scenes of other membership sites. They want to see like inside other membership sites. They want to hear like a debrief of like how they launched and what they're doing to get new members and so forth. So it's like the behind the scenes of these membership sites. Now the good news is fortunately I've got some great relationships and we can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop a whole membership site that's going to take you behind the scenes, and we're going to drill down into the numbers. So we're going to talk about like what kinds of how many people they had on their email list, and what emails they sent, and what pulled well, what had the best conversion rates and open rates. We'll talk about like Facebook ads and what ads they ran and what worked well, what didn't. We'll talk about other strategies that they're using to get members in. We'll talk about like how they've got their site structured and the content and what they're delivering each month and how they're minimizing their effort but yet still delivering maximum value. So it's going to be awesome. Like I'm super pumped, and it's going to be really, really cool. Like the debriefs of the inside guts of these membership sites and behind the scenes. That's essentially the overview of like what we're planning for this membership site. Now, do we have all the things nailed down? Absolutely not. Like that was not the original membership site idea. We'll bring you behind the scenes on the other one that we're going to do that we've been thinking about for a long time. That one is definitely a, what would I call that? That would probably be a UPS model, definitely a UPS model. And that other idea was born from a pain that I was experiencing myself, and that was last year that we put the wheels in motion for this. And not when I say we put the wheels in motion, not at all thinking that this would be a membership site. I'll share with you the pain point that I had that sparked this idea. The pain point that I had was that there was so much good information out there, like podcasts, blogs, videos on YouTube, so much great information out there, courses that I had signed up for, tons of great information. But my days are packed. I know your days are packed. And so like trying to fit it all in is hard. And especially like when there's different things that are like long, you know, like videos on YouTube. Like I got a list of like videos I want to watch, but they're long. Some of them are an hour, some 2, some 3 hours long. It's crazy. So how do you get through all this? Well, that's the seed of the idea for what we are going to end up putting together. So we're going to bring you behind the scenes on that. The code word for that is SD. SD is the code word for that membership site. So we're going to bring you behind the scenes on that too. And we're going to talk about like the strategy, who we're targeting, how we're going to structure the content. We'll talk about the deliverables, the pricing, why we're approaching the pricing the way we are. We'll talk about the launch strategy. We haven't launched it yet. All we've been doing is we've been creating materials for it, but we have not launched it yet. And so it's going to be fun. You guys are going to see like, you know, whether it works, whether it doesn't. Fingers crossed it does. I'm confident it will, but you just never know, right? So you're going to see behind the scenes on that whole thing. That's all coming up. Then we've also got some live meetups. So if you want to come join us, amazing. It would be great to see you in person and your fellow tribers. We got one next week in LA. I'm still finalizing. It's either going to be the Friday or Saturday night next week. So that's coming up. Then we're going to have another one in Toronto. So we'll flip over to the East Coast. Then next March, I'm going to have one in Australia for my Aussies. Boom. And we're definitely going to try to plan one in Europe somewhere as well in the upcoming months. So we'll give you the schedule for those. That's all coming up. I mean, that's like, you know, above and beyond. It's just because we got an amazing community. I want to get us together. So lots to look forward to. The other thing that I quickly want to address was I was talking to somebody this morning that they're more in the beginning stages of getting started and getting their sites going. And one of the questions that he had was like, Stu, where should I put my focus? You know, where should I put my focus? Like I feel like now we're getting into more advanced materials, and I don't know that I'm ready for that yet. But here's what I would say to him: like, it's okay. There's no rush. There's no rush for you to have a membership site launched, like, you know, in 3 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, right? There's no rush. Here's the thing that I would do, though. I would go deep on the fundamentals. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. There are very few people who will market and talk about the fundamentals because it's just not sexy. Like, people don't want to hear about the fundamentals. They want the latest whiz-bang strategy, and I talked about this morning on the 10 and 10. But here's the reality. Like, this stuff works. People, I'm telling you, like, if you go deep on this, it works. So if you're in the beginning stages and you're just building your list, this stuff is very applicable. Like, the exact same strategies will skyrocket the speed at which you build your list so much faster than it will if you try to just, like, you know, get the latest whiz-bang strategy here, whiz-bang strategy there, and there's no cohesive plan whatsoever. Like, this is where people fall through the cracks. You know, it reminds me many years ago. This was in 2004. And I was beginning to start building my business, and I joined a really high-priced mastermind. Like, at the time, it was way out of my budget. It was $16,000 a year. I was just out of university, like 2 years out of university, so I was still paying off I wasn't paying off student debt then, but I was like flat broke. I was still living in my parents' basement. And I remember when I made the decision to sign up for this high-priced mastermind, and Amy, my now wife, we were boyfriend, girlfriend back then. I said to her, like, you know, I made a big decision, and she said, you know, what is it? And I said, well, I've signed up for this, like, this mastermind. It's $16,000, and that was about half of what I made in that year. And she said, do you think it's going to help you? And I said, I do. You know, I'm confident that, like, one idea from that mastermind would produce not only what I paid, but so much more. And it was about like getting around people who were thinking differently and bigger and so forth. And I'll never forget this one conversation. I was at a mastermind, and I thought I had like this amazing idea, right? It was like, it was like a chicken soup for the soul. And I'll share the idea with you. I had this idea. I registered like literally hundreds of domains, and it was ideas for, and then you fill in the blank. So ideas for marketing, ideas for business, ideas for gardeners, ideas for dog owners, like all these different markets, right? And my big master plan was to create almost like a chicken soup for the soul, but for like all these different niche markets. And I remember I was really proud of this. And as soon as I had the idea, I was like, oh my goodness. And so I started like registering all these domains. I literally had like close to 800 domains just related to this thing, because I had ideas, the number 4, and ideas FOR, like hundreds and hundreds of domains for all these different markets. And I sat down with one of my mentors at the time who was running the mastermind, and I was super excited. I was just, like a kid in a candy store. I was like, okay, I'm gonna show him this idea, and he's gonna tell me like how amazing it is, and what a huge hit I've got on my hands. So I open up my laptop, and I open up my mind mapping software, and it was like this elaborate, like all these trees of all these different ideas and directions we could take, and I was going to have like ebooks, and I was going to do this, and I was going to do that, and it was just like all this big elaborate business plan. And so he was gracious. He gave me the time, and he gave me the time to explain it. And then when I finished, he looked at me, and he smiled. He grabbed my laptop, and he closed it. And I was like, what are you doing? And he said, Stu, you don't need any more ideas. You just need to take the first step on one of these ideas. And I was like, no, you don't get it. You don't get it. Like, these are all like interconnected, and like, this is going to lead to this, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Stu, he's like, how many of these ideas have you taken action on so far? And I said, none. He's like, exactly. He's like, you've got to start taking action on one idea. And he's like, sure, you can have these other things. You can have a plan for how all this fits. He's like, but nothing happens until you get in motion. And this is so relevant for all of us, and is probably one of the most valuable pieces of information and wisdom and guidance and support that I got. And I want to pass it on to you. Because in the beginning, when we're starting, there's a million and one things that we can do. What I'm sharing with you is to stick to the plan. Follow what we are going through in Tribe. Because the fundamentals are the fundamentals of the fundamentals. Whether you're just building your list and growing your audience, whether you're, have a more established membership site, does not matter. They apply across the board. And so what I would say is that it is important when you're getting started that you get in motion. You start applying what you're learning. Many times people think that they know this stuff because it's the fundamentals. They may have heard it before, but they've never actually done anything with it. They've never taken action on it. Case in point, I think I shared this in one of the 10 and 10s last week. There was a gentleman who was part of Tribe, who's no longer part of Tribe. He had a viewpoint that I didn't agree with. But one of the things that he said was that it's like he was placing himself above all of us in Tribe. Had a very arrogant approach to things. And when I looked at his website, it was clear as day that he didn't understand the fundamentals. And this is why he was not getting the traction that he was hoping for. In his headline, which should be focused always on the either external or internal challenges of your market, his headline had nothing to do with his market. Nothing. It had everything to do with him. it was totally patting his ego. It was his name, comma, PhD, and then some line about how great he was underneath. Nothing to do with his market. So it's crazy to me because, like, it is so clear and obvious that we forget how important the fundamentals are. And I've talked about this on the 10 and 10, and I'm still fired up about it. Because, and that's why I'm sharing it with you right now, because I'm telling you, you are in the right place, you've got the right information, and you've got the right support to be able to take your ideas and make magic happen. And so you've got to start applying it. You've got to put the wheels in motion. And I want to give high fives to everybody. I saw Giovanna posted in the Facebook group, you know, how she had an awesome post about, like, how she's applied a couple things and she's already paid for the course because she had like 9 people sign up for something. It was amazing. And Rachel the day before. This is awesome. Just put the wheels in motion, right? One step in front of the other. Start where you are and make the most of what you have available to you. And most importantly, just start applying what it is that you're learning. Whether you're just starting, there's no rush. You have access to Tribe for life. Like, as long as the servers don't melt down and all that kind of stuff, there's no end to when you have access to Tribe. And our Tribe community, it's not just all of a sudden going to end. I'm not just all of a sudden going to drop off the face of the earth. I'm still going to be active in there. So you've got what you need. You've got the support you need. Now it's just about putting one foot in front of the other. Okay, sorry. I don't mean to rant. I get fired up because here's the bottom line. Like, I want you to succeed. Like, that's the bottom line. Like, yesterday was a perfect example. I had a coaching call with somebody who was interested in coaching with me on an ongoing basis. Financially, they're not ready. And I told them that. And they were like, no, we're good to go. And I said, no, you're not. This is not for me. This is about, like, helping people get the best results. And I said to her on the call, I said, look, I just don't think you're ready. And what I would encourage you to do is to use the next 3 months to really build up some momentum. Here's exactly what I would do. And then at that point, I think you will be ready. But right now you're not. And because for me, like, I want you, I want that person, I want everybody to succeed with what you're learning here. The only way you're going to do that is if you apply it. And we've got so many great things coming up that are going to, like, that are going to continue to support you well beyond, like, the course itself. Like, the course itself, then we've got, like, the list building bonuses. We've got the behind the scenes bonuses. You've got this additional bonus you don't even know about that's coming, the membership site that you're going to get access to that's coming. There's so much goodness coming. Plus all the meetups. It's good to be you. It's good to be us. We have an amazing community. All right. Okay, now I'm going to get into let me just do this. I'm going to get into the questions. The first one I'm going to cover here is from Kim. And let me see. Hopefully, Emily, behind the scenes, we're going to be okay if I share my screen. Just going to try to do that here. Am I showing my screen? Actually, you guys let me know. Can you see my screen right now? Give me a yes in the question box. Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you can see Kim's success path here? Give me a TU for thumbs up if you can see Kim's success path. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Okay, let me figure this out. Now, it is a bit small, so let me see if I can. Nope. I'm working on it. Hang on, gang. Let's see. Okay, we're getting there. It's a little fuzzy, but I think I can make it work. Let me see if I can download it. Hang on one sec. Page I'm going to try to download it. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's not helping either. Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to make do with what we've got. All right, Kim. So, oh, I should just read what Kim said. Here's a link, Kim said. Oh, you mean you're going to make it super easy for me? Oh, that's amazing, because I should just really just like look at what you've given me. Okay. So I think it makes sense here. All right. So let's read. Okay. All right. So here we go. Okay. So stage one. Actually, Kim, if you're on, I would love to, man, I'd love to open up your line if that's possible. Sandra, do you know if that's possible? If we can open up Kim's line?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But we can try. Let me see if I can do anything here. Da, 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 da.
Because what I would love to do is just talk through, because there's obviously some things I'm not going to totally understand.
She's on the regular line. She's here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, find her in the attendees. Yes, of course.
Okay, Kim. Kim, we're gonna go for it. If you're there, we're gonna unmute you. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Kim, is that you?
Yes, I don't have a microphone. I'm just using my computer.
Well, you're coming through crystal clear, and I'm excited for it. Okay, so talk us through your success path here. Who is your market first?
I'm helping parents who have sensitive or strong-willed or anxious kids learn how to support them with their emotions while also supporting themselves with the intense emotions that come up for them.
Well, Kim, this just couldn't come at a more better time, because my daughter had a meltdown this morning. So, whoop-de-woo, this is going to be perfect. Okay, so let's talk about this. So your stage one, you've got parent triggers, parent techniques, kid skills. Is this how you're, explain to me how you're organizing this.
So in my mind, when I started kind of looking through all the things that my clients have been telling me and people have been communicating to me, there are basically three main challenge areas. The first challenge area, which I'm going to name something much more fun, is the parent triggers. Like, how do we stay calm? How do we deal with this? The second one was parenting techniques. What do we do when our kid's melting down? What do we say? How do we handle it? What strategies do we use? And then the third piece was, and how do we help our kids learn emotional regulation skills? So those are kind of the three pillars of what I do.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then you've got names for each one. You stage one, seeker, adventure explorer, cultivator, designer. Let me cross off that. And stage 5 is flourishing parent. Okay, this is good. So a seeker, what is their life like right now? Is this what you how you'd explain it in terms of the bullets? Okay.
Yeah, the things, the actions they would be having, the feelings they would be having, the stage that they're at, and basically a seeker is realizing that things aren't working, but they're in this pattern, which is all those kind of details there of what's going on and how they react and respond and how their kids react and respond, and they're just seeking kind of another way because they're in that pattern there.
Perfect. Okay, so Kim, just based purely on success path concepts and so forth, you've absolutely nailed this. So what I love about how you've organized this, you've got the parent triggers in terms of like, what is the parent thinking and feeling, which is perfect, because people, when they read these, they're going to self-identify and they're going to say, that's exactly what happens with me. Like if I were to read this right now, like I'm just going to, like I would say this morning, I would say my wife and I are probably in either the stage 2 or stage 3 category. So this morning for me, like our daughter was emotional. She's 5 years old, and for some reason, something just was not right, and she was emotional about everything. And it was a challenge getting her out the door to school this morning, and there were tears, right? So my wife afterwards, once we dropped the kids out of school, she was like, okay, we've got to think through like how we stay calm in this, because she was getting upset too. So I can totally relate. Like when I'm reading these, I can immediately connect and relate, and that's important for your market. Like when they're reading and you're teaching about the success path, they want to be able to self-identify like where they're at. So I love that. I love also how you have organized the parent techniques. So like, what are they doing and what are they not doing, which is great. And then the kid skills. Okay, this is good. So you know what's interesting about this is you could almost have like a success path for both parents and kids, by the way.
Yeah, my online program, it's the Calming Compass, and it does that. It's the Calming Compass for adults and the Calming Compass for kids. So there's 2 tracks to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely think that you could have 2 tracks, because you could have like a very calm parent, but a very like not so calm child. You know what I mean? So it's like how do you coach the child through that success path? As you know, and then the parent, you could have the opposite. You know what I mean? Like you could. I think they could be 2 tracks, but you've definitely nailed this in my opinion, Kim. Oh, honey, I'm on a call. My wife's calling. You've definitely nailed this, and I've given short little descriptions. To me, that's a really powerful way for people to quickly identify where they're at, and then you've also, through the descriptions, you've cast a vision for like where this could all go, and I think that's really important. You know, like that's the big purpose behind the success path, is casting the vision for like where are people now, and where you know what's the where do they want to be. And then we start working through the materials that we're delivering inside the membership are the tools and the resources and the information that's going to take them from where they are to where they want to be. So I think you've done a great job with this, Kim.
Thank you. And then what are your suggestions on then developing the core content?
So the core content is explaining all of this.
Okay.
So the core content is, you know, is giving your, like in your case, the parents, the foundation of, like right now, in my opinion, like one of the things that I would say is a big piece is teaching what are parent triggers, what are parent techniques, and what are kid skills. So I would explain what those are, and then I would explain the difference between stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and cast the vision for where this is all going. You know, and so that's what your core content is. It's about like explaining the success path. It's about giving your parents a baseline knowledge, so of which they now are familiar with terms that you're going to be using, and they are familiar with where they are and where they're heading towards. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. That's awesome.
Cool. All right, so great job, Kim. I think that was probably helpful for everybody. Now, what I'll do is I'll post the link. Are you okay if I post the link for everybody to take a look at it?
Yep, and it's on the page too. But yes, go ahead, post the link.
All right, I'm going to post the link, send to all. There you go. So there's Kim's success path. Thank you for sharing that, Kim, and thank you for jumping on.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want to share them out. All right. I think you guys can see me now. Okay, so let's get to some more questions. So thank you, Kim, for that. Let's see. This one is from Christina. Okay, so Christina asked, can you provide some tips on how to avoid goodbye scenes in my Facebook group for my membership? Because they went from they're going from open to closed, and so she had a more lengthy explanation of everything. Okay, so I'll just read it for everybody because I think it's. Let me just show it. Hang on. Show screen. Okay, so here is Christina's explanation. So she gave us some background. She said, I have chosen that it is not possible to be part of my closed Facebook group if you are not a member. And I know some members stay because they love the community. So if I just leave people in my group when they cancel, I'm afraid I will have lots of drop-offs. Advantage would, of course, be that drop-offs will not be visible to paying members. I have used 3 years building that rule and keeping it, so look forward to hearing your clever comments. Went from open to closed 2 weeks ago. Yes, many new members, great. However, now I face drop-offs and big goodbye scenes in my Facebook group. Fear I will not make staircase growth, but the attached. I'm used to goodbyes plus matching it with as many hellos, but now it is closed, changing the game. Is it a way to early start a private enrollment? And I am really fumbling with how to do that with integrity. My list really need new leads is flatlined around 6,000. I only have 2 persons on the wait list, so no big wins there yet. Or to get small success for now. I managed to win a customer back that wrote to me. I'm not using the membership, so I think I'm going to quit. I wrote back if she would be willing to join a 5-day challenge, paint 30 minutes a day, including watching a short video from me. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's what I would say, Christina. When it comes to free Facebook groups and you're transitioning to a paid membership, the most important piece, this is for you and for everybody else, is managing expectations, right? And so the more runway you have for this, the better. And obviously you've already made the switch, which is great. You know, I'm excited for you that you're heading down this path. The key thing that you mentioned was that you are not okay, a couple things. One, that you're afraid you're going to have drop-offs. Here's the reality. You absolutely will. Like any membership site, no matter how good they are going to have drop-offs. That's why the next module, which is retention, is going to be very, very, very relevant for you. You're going to learn a ton of strategies for reducing drop-off. So keep your eyes open for that. That's coming up real soon. So I'm not going to go into detail because I cover a ton of strategies for retention in that particular module. But here's what I will say in regards to the group. It's about I want you to focus on the benefit. Focus on the emphasis as to why you've done this. It's because so that you can invest more time and more resources in your community. And to make it great, you have to have resources for that. You know, you have to have resources, manpower. You have to have resources for extras that you want to do and information you want to provide and all that kind of stuff. And so to make it great, you need the resources, and that's why you're focusing your energy on making it an amazing, amazing community, and that's why you've made this transition. Second thing, so focus on the benefits of that, okay? Then in terms of the drop-offs, you're gonna face drop-offs. That's why in the marketing module I talked a lot about the evergreen, and I also talked about the waitlist promos. Okay. Now you said that you don't have a huge waitlist. One of the reasons is because you've also got to continuously generate leads. And so I would encourage you to go and watch, if you haven't done so yet, go watch the list building concepts and ideas. And one of the things that I like to do is take out your calendar and specifically plan throughout the year when you're going to do different list building efforts. Like that's one of the big things that we do is like we'll look at the calendar and we'll say, okay, when are we going to do our big list building effort, you know, with this project? Like, I'm going to do one in December. It's going to be, I'm going to use it to raise a bunch of money for our charity. But it's also going to be a list builder, and putting it on the calendar, scheduling it, organizing it. That's the most important piece. And of which, once you get more and more people onto your list, that just creates a whole funnel for you to be able to then promote the membership afterwards. I think. And then in terms of like winning people back, I think the most important piece here, Christina, is that you're paying attention. And so paying attention means like listening, which I commend you for, which is awesome. Listening to why people are dropping off. Because once you identify why they're dropping off, now you can create things to help absolve those concerns and objections. And I want you to also pay attention to when people are dropping off. Is it going to be in is it after month 1, month 3, 6? When are they typically dropping off? Pay attention to that, because those are the things that once you identify those, again, we can now come up with strategies and ideas to eliminate those drop-off points. And so that's one of the big things that you'll hear about in Module 5 when we talk about specific numbers to really pay attention to. That is one of them. What are the drop-off points, and so forth. So have no fear, my friend. I get the cause for concern, but now it's about you shifting gears to building an evergreen funnel that will give you that staircase effect, that will hold you steady in between your launches. Okay, it's about continuously building your list, which is going to give you fuel and add more and more people to your wait list, so you can do those private enrollments, and that's going to even things out. That's going to steady things out. It's about you've done the main thing. You've taken the first step. Now it's about doing these other things that are going to give you that level steady part in between the launches. Okay. If you have follow-up questions, definitely hit me up. I'm more than happy to help answer them for you. All right. Let me see here. Okay, so Rosie asked a question and said, we would like some assistance on how to work with JVs using a membership site. Okay, JVs, I'm going to make a note of this. I'm going to do a whole bonus training. Bonus training. Working. Okay, let me ask you. You guys tell me. I spent my early career from 2005 to 2008 managing affiliate programs for some of the world's top marketers. Being behind the scenes, even back then, we did multiple seven-figure launches with affiliates. JVs is a short form for joint venture partners. Those are typically people that you're going to collaborate with, or another way that there are different degrees of JVs. A straight-up joint venture partner would be maybe you collaborate together on a product, but another JV would be considered like an affiliate, somebody who's going to promote your membership site for you, and in exchange they get affiliate commissions. And so would you be interested if I did a bonus training specifically on how to manage JVs? It's something that, like I said, I was behind the scenes for many years. Okay, lots. Okay, you guys are awesome. So I see like Shauna, David, Magdalena, Scott, Alexandra, Alan, Tanel, Judy, Carla said absolutely. Kevin's like yes, yes, yes. All right, okay, got it. Jabril, you guys are amazing. Okay, so we're gonna mark that on the calendar. I will get a date established and figured out. We're gonna have many trainings beyond the core course, as you're seeing. We've got the bonus trainings coming up. I've got some of these extra trainings like this, like working with the JVs. I'm definitely gonna do that. The other one that I've said I would do, and I will, are like tours virtual tours of membership sites. So you can see inside other membership sites. Wouldn't that be fun? Like seeing inside of a whole bunch of different membership sites and a whole bunch of different niches. So we'll do that too. And those, what we'll do is we'll post the dates of those inside the members area. If you can join us live, great. If you can't, no problem. They'll be all recorded and we will post them in there. But Rosie, here's what I would say when it comes to working with JVs real quick. Number one, it's about communication, anticipation, and those are the two big things. Like, so communication is like letting them know, like, way out in advance the dates of a particular promotion that you want them to participate on. So for mine, for example, like, I gave my JV partners, especially all my top 5 JV partners, and I gave many other people almost like 9 months advance notice. And then, like, different people obviously were interested in promoting and so forth and participating as we got closer to it, and so they had less and less time. But like the big rocks, the big people that I wanted to be involved, I reached out to them way in advance. And so communication is about not only communicating the date, but like then keeping them in touch in terms of what's happening and what's going on. So I sent like regular updates to all JV partners, just letting them know, like, as we were getting closer and closer to the launch, like what's happening, what we're working on, and giving them a little sneak peek behind the scenes, all that kind of stuff. So I was constantly communicating with them. Then during any type of promotion, I'm in frequent communication with them. I was communicating literally every single day during the promotion. Then I was also, for my big JV partners, I was communicating with them privately, which is really important too. So Skype, on my phone, like text, Snapchat for some of them, Voxer for others. Like, I was just constantly communicating with them. So that's one. Communication is really key. Second key is anticipation. So think of it like a promotion to both your audience and to your JVs. It's like literally like 2 promotions, because you want to create just as much anticipation with your JVs as you do with your audience. And so that's another huge piece of the puzzle. And then the other thing that I would say is just creating tools to support them, resources to support them, giving them like full explanation of what the product is, what the membership is, like the benefits, the success stories, all that kind of stuff. Now, here's what I will say. For 99.9% of people who, especially if you're just starting, I don't even want you thinking about JVs, because here's the reality. Like Michael Hyatt's Platform University, we have never opened that up to affiliates or JVs. It's coming up 4 years. Why? Because it doesn't make sense yet. Like we're just getting it going. We're just getting into a rhythm. So just be patient. Be patient. Now, if you've already got an established membership, then yes, definitely entertain that idea. And I'll do a whole thing, like I said, a whole bonus on working with JVs. But what I will say is, like, for most people, it's another layer of complexity. You don't even need to worry about it yet. I would get your fundamentals down first, and then once you've got that, then you add in the JV part of it. All right? Okay, so let me ask this question here from Erica. I do have a question about my membership, which is designed for pregnant moms. I'd love to do the only have it open a couple times a year, but feel at minimum I have to open it 4 times, as pregnancy is a limited time frame anyways. Do you think it would be best just to leave it open all the time, or open it publicly only 4 times a year and then do the behind the scenes with Facebook ads? Thank you. I'm learning lots to fine tune things. Okay, Erica, in your case, yeah. I could definitely see how your market it's a little bit different, right? My sister and my brother-in-law, they just announced that they're pregnant. So I could totally see, like, now she's in the mode like, okay, I got to figure all this stuff out, right? So I get it. So I think in your case, I think it's probably best to have it open all the time. Here's the only thing though. When you have an open marketing plan, you've still got to create a reason for people to join today. Like the challenge with an opening marketing plan is that there's not any urgency for them to join today, and you need to create that urgency, because if you don't, then people will put off that decision, and because they'll be like, oh, I'll come back to this tomorrow, I'll check this out tomorrow, and they never do. So you've got to give them a reason to join today. Here's how we did it with one of our sites. This was a multiple, mid six-figure a year site. And what we would do is we would take the content that we're producing that month for the membership, and we would almost like create almost like a mini promotion around that content. That's what we would feature. And we would emphasize the fact that like when you join today, you immediately get access to this content. So it wasn't as strong as in terms of scarcity and urgency for them to join today, but it was something. It gave them a reason to join today. So that's what I would say, Erica, is that I would keep it open, but I would focus on creating some type of a monthly promotion that gives people a reason to join today. All right. Let me see here. How are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Give me a TU in the question box just so. All right, you guys are awesome. Tiana, Christina, Ryan, Alexandra, Susan, Dana, Ricky, you got Jennifer, Jeff, Rita, Rhonda, Sherry, PJ. You guys are awesome. David, Shelly, Heidi. Woohoo! Man, I can't keep up with you guys. You guys are amazing. Hug. Okay, let's go. Next question. This one's from Mari. Mari said, this may be a mix of module 2 and 3, but as far as marketing, do you believe in part 1 and part 2? My content is how to be a working model from start to finish in any area and any age. My friend thinks it's too much info and too pricey, and I should do a basic and a part 2 advanced, which gets into taxes and finding your own work. Mari, the challenge is I'm not totally sure on what your marketing or what your market is. This may be a mix. Do you believe in part 1 and part 2? Okay, here's what I would say. I think I'm understanding where you're going, but I'm going to try to distill this for everyone. I think what you're saying is like, do I believe in having like a success path that brings them up to a certain point and then like almost like a second level? And the answer to that is yes, I definitely do. And so I think you can structure it that way. However, one thing I would say is that keep it simple in the beginning. So if you're just starting this, I would keep it simple and I would just go with one level. Focus on one market. Are you going to be giving up the advanced people? Yes, but you're focusing. That's the most important piece. You can come back to those people, come back to them like when the time is right, when you launch that next level. In the beginning, though, I would focus on one level. And so, long story short, I do think you could definitely do like a a success path that's a beginner, and then once they get through that, you have another one. I definitely think you can do that. But in the beginning, I'm going to suggest you focus on one of those markets first. All right. So Dana said, I have 3 different things I do / teach. Number 1, breaking through unconscious blocks to more customers and income. Number 2, sales psychology methods. And number 3, live video for business. Would you have 3 different membership sites? The breakthrough work has a session every week already. Should some be a course and not a membership site? How would you organize all this? Okay. To me, the sales psychology methods, that's probably the best one of all 3 for a membership site, followed second by the live video for business, and then third, breaking through unconscious blocks. Now, with that said, Dana, here's what I know from experience. The reason I'm saying that the sales psychology methods, live video, and then breaking through unconscious blocks in that order is because people, when they buy, they're buying to solve the external problem. almost always they're buying to solve the external problem. And so the external problem of I'm not getting enough sales, that's a strong external problem. The second best is, you know, the live video for business, how to use video for business. And then the third is the unconscious blocks. Most people will not buy for internal purposes, right? It's a softer thing. However, this is where the magic comes in. This is where we use our skills that we're learning inside a tribe, is that you still bundle that stuff in, okay? And that ends up becoming one of the most powerful components of it all. But the reality is, on the outside, when people are still not in our world yet, the thing that they're buying is not the unconscious blocks. They don't think they have unconscious blocks. It's unconscious. They're not thinking about it. What they are thinking about is like making more sales, using video for sales. You know, and I would tie that back to like live video for business, but I would tie that back to, I'd probably say live video for making sales or something like that. Like tie it back to, you know, something specific and tangible. So that's what I would say. So I think you could do a membership site definitely around the sales psychology. I definitely think you could do one around live video. Like my buddy James Wedmore has one called Real Marketing Insider, and that's real as in REEL. So he has a whole membership site just around that. And I think you do the same. I think you do the same for the sales psychology. And then what I would do is I would bundle in some of the breaking through unconscious blocks material into both of those, because you and I both know that it's the mental side of the game more than anything that holds people back from getting a result. That's why this community right here, Tribe, is amazing, because it's a safe place for us to like get moving, to like try stuff, to put the wheels in motion, right? And then get the support and feedback. But it's almost always people's limiting beliefs hold them back more than anything else. And so we know that, but the reality is that's not why they would join or buy. So hopefully that helps you in terms of organizing that in your brain. Okay, so Ling said, what's your favorite refund policy for students? Well, that's a good question. I think for me, refund policies, I do like having a more, what do I say? I like having a clear expectation up front that weeds people out from ever joining. Meaning like that, you know, that they need to hand in homework or something like that. As it relates to membership sites, it's a little bit different. Like I honestly, I don't, I try not to get too worried, or not worried, but like I don't get caught up in having elaborate like refund policies. To me, it's like it's more of a cancellation. So we're not necessarily going to refund people for a membership site, or we're just going to give them the ability to cancel it whenever. And I think you do make that accessible. I think if you try to hide it and bury it, people get upset and mad and frustrated and even more angry. If they want to cancel, let them cancel. But you know, yeah. So that's what I think. I think for membership sites, just keep it straightforward and simple. Judy said, when I talk about the fundamentals, what exactly am I referring to? Judy, I'm referring to like knowing your market inside and out, knowing their external problems and challenges, knowing their internal problems and challenges. Exactly what we talked about in module number 1. And that's like the must-have fundamentals, you know? And so when I think back to, remember the example of the man that the gentleman that I was talking about that was very arrogant? The reason I knew that he had not mastered the fundamentals is because when I went to his website, his headline, like this is like blows my mind, like his headline was all about him. And the fundamentals, like 101 basic stuff, is what I'm sharing with you. It is not about you whatsoever. People buy for what's in it for them. And so you have to stay supremely focused on the external and internal problems and challenges that your market faces. The problem, though, Judy, is that most people don't do they won't do the time to think about those things. It's not sexy. People are looking for the quick, short answer. Not in Tribe. Our Tribe audience, we're not looking for the quick fix, which is why I love our group. But like the outside world, so many people are looking for the quick things. They're looking for like the quick one-off hit strategy that's all of a sudden going to, generate tons of customers for them. Doesn't happen. Where you make the most traction is when you're so in tune with your market and what their external and internal problems and challenges are, and that you can give voice to those things in a way that they could never give voice to them themselves. But when they hear it from you, they're like, that's me. I connect at a deep level. I get it. That's exactly the way I think and feel, and that's exactly what's happening in my life. That's the fundamentals. Then when we take that a step further, when we talk about the content and then the fundamentals there and the fundamentals with the marketing, like marketing is a whole other thing. Marketing, there are literally like a gazillion, that's my word for a whole lot, a gazillion strategies that you can implement, like tons. And it's so easy to get lured into, I'm not, if I just have that next whiz bang strategy, if I just do that, this next whiz bang strategy, if I can implement that in my business, make all the difference. But it's not the next whiz bang strategy. It's the fundamentals of marketing, and the marketing boils down to some key components: traffic and conversion, getting attention, and getting somebody's attention, converting them from interested to becoming a buyer, prospect to buyer. But it comes down to traffic and conversion. That's it. So then the question becomes, okay, so what do you do to get more traffic and to increase conversions? And those are the fundamentals of marketing. That's why in the marketing module, I'm not revealing like 100 different marketing strategies. Because the reality of it is, if you just master a few, like if you just focus on a few things, they will make all the difference. It's the 80-20 principle. 20% of the things that you do will produce 80% of the results you get. That's what I focus on. And I just focus on mastering that 20%. And that's what I recommend you focus on. That's why the course is structured. I'm just getting straight to the meat and potatoes of the fundamentals of what you should focus on. And so if you're going through the course material, Judy, high five, girl. You got this, okay? Okay, Charles said, I noticed that in your launch scripts you shared with us that there's only 3 videos in the launch sequence rather than the typical 4 videos of a PLF style launch. Any particular reason why there's 3 videos as opposed to 4? Yes, Charles. So for a long time, I used to do 3 videos instead of 4, partly because I think many times there's ways you can combine that 3rd video with the 4th one. Recently, I've broken it out, like for the longest time, for probably, up until this past year, I did 3 videos for every launch, and not 4. Now, the only reason I did 4 for this most recent launch was because I wanted to go more in depth on the 4th video, or the 3rd video, which was the blueprint, right? Which was essentially the success path where I was mapping that out. So, but yeah, for the longest time, I only did 3, and because I combined the 3rd and 4th. What I would say is that you can easily just break that up, because the 3rd video follows almost a very similar structure as to number 2, but the only difference is in your content and material that you teach. You're going to go and cover in depth the success path or the blueprint. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense there, Charles. Good question. Okay, Magdalena asked, in the launch, the webinar is a continuation of the, so the content makes sense for people. Should we change the webinar content a bit for the evergreen about affiliate marketing? Okay, so let me answer this first question. Should you change the webinar content a bit for the evergreen? No, I don't think so, because the webinar is a continuation of the videos, if you will, in the launch. But here's the reality. You want to structure your webinar content assuming that nobody even saw the videos, right? So what we found was that there's only a percentage of people that have seen and participated in the webinar. And so assume that nobody has even seen the videos of the launch, and that's why it's totally that's why I recommend you use this, essentially the same content from the videos in the structure of the webinar. Okay, so that's your first question, Magdalena. Then you had a question about affiliate marketing. You said, how do you calculate the relevant sales threshold for affiliate partners to give them prizes? A prize is worth $1,000. How much sales JV has to make to get this prize? Okay, so here's how I calculate it. Depends again on the course and all that kind of stuff, or the membership price and all that kind of stuff. But here's a general rule of thumb. I would pay 40% affiliate commission, and then I would assign 10% for bonuses and prizes and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me repeat that. We would pay 40% affiliate commission, and then 10% would go toward a bonus or prize. So essentially 50% of all sales are going towards JVs and affiliates who make those sales, and that's how I allocate it. So hopefully that makes sense. So essentially 10% is going toward the affiliate, and that's overall, with commissions, it would be 50% that's being set aside for that. All right, let me check in with you guys. How are we doing? Let me know. Put smile if you are with me and we're good to go. Just put smile in the question box. Ah, yeah. See? You guys are awesome. Yako, Cheryl, Heidi, Katie, Matt, CH, Shauna, Tanel's like, all good. Keep on going. Eric, Marianne, B, Susan, Damien, Christina, Brenda, you guys are amazing. Gosh, I love our community. I got a thumbs up from Charles. That's awesome. You guys are amazing. I'm very, very grateful to have you along here. Okay, we got more questions. Eric, speaking of which, we have a question from you coming up. Okay, so Eric said, Stu, when sending the 4-part video series, I assume you only send videos 1 through 3 to those who opted in. But do you send video number 4 and or the webinar to the entire list to let them know about the online course membership? Yes, I do. So the whole time, Eric, I'm always trying to drive people to the videos anyway. So I'm always sending, I send more frequent communication to the people who have opted in to the video series. But I'm still sending periodic messages to the entire list, trying to drive them to each of the videos. Then when I release the 4th video, I'm definitely sending an email to the entire list about the membership being open. And I'm definitely sending, I think depending on the open cart week, like how long you're open for, I'm definitely sending a couple more emails to the entire list. So I send more frequent number of emails to people who have opted in to the video series. I'll send less emails to people who have not, but I'm still sending them to the entire list. One little trick that I will say that's really, I think, can really help is at the bottom of your emails, I would have like a sentence that says, if you do not want to hear any more about the XYZ promotion, click here. And when they click there, that just doesn't opt them out of your entire list, but it puts them on, like, you tag them or puts them on a list where those people don't get sent any more emails. Because some people, they just may not want to join or whatever, or they may already be a member if you haven't segmented them out. And so give people that option. Just make a little link at the bottom of the emails where they can click and be pulled out of future notifications. I think that'll help save you. Okay. Erica said, Stu, I have my main online product, which I sell for $9.97, and it is the basics of what someone must do to start a business, coaching or service-based. How can I include that training in my success path without diminishing the value of my online program? Okay, so Erica, what I would do is I would teach people what all of that is. Okay, like, so you're teaching people, like, you're casting the vision. It's like almost like, think of it like a table of contents, right? So when you look at a table of contents of a book, you get a sense of what the book is about, but you're not giving, you know, there's still a desire to want to go deeper into the book. Like, I think it's really important for us to understand that the difference. The core training is like, is about getting people up to speed and aware of where this is all going. But the content itself is where you're getting into the meat and potatoes. And so for your course, that's where you're getting into the meat and potatoes, but you're still, the core content or the success path with your membership is still casting the vision of where this is all going. So it's all, think of it like a table of contents, and you're just creating awareness to where this is all going, how everything fits, but you're not teaching people, you're not going in depth about how to do it all. That's inside your course. With the membership site, that is what you'll be, my guess, is probably teaching over a much longer period of time. So hopefully that helps make sense there in terms of how to deliver core content that teaches your success path without taking away from your online program. Okay, so Kevin said, what if your research reveals that what your niche does not want is a membership? After researching my niche, I believe that I need to stick with courses, not a membership community. My niche and list seek affordable courses that teach specific skills, but don't really want a recurring membership. They won't depend on regular content and don't want community. Seems I misjudged my niche. Am I missing something? Well, Kevin, you might be missing something if you ask people if they want a membership. Because many times, like, you ask a market, do you want a membership? They're going to say no. Like, most people don't even, like, depending on what market, some people don't even know what that is. And they definitely don't, if you ask them, do you want to pay on a recurring basis, they're definitely not going to say yes, right? To me, it's all about positioning. And it's all about, like, how you are phrasing this. Now, if you're talking about, like, short little courses, here's what I would say. Like, to me, the downside of, like, a bunch of different random short little courses is not knowing how it all fits. It's like the shiny object. Like, what you're appealing to is the shiny object, but what we need to do is we need to help people, like, make progress from where they are to where they want to be. And I know that you're not, that's not intentional or anything, but what I'm saying to you is, like, from a leadership standpoint, I think there's a real opportunity for you and I to help educate our market and help them gain the clarity of how this all fits. And that, my friend, clarity and direction is the number one thing that people are willing to pay for. Number one. And when you have a great success path that you communicate in your marketing, people are drawn to that. People are drawn to that clarity. Like, there was a number of examples of people in our tribe community who shared their success path with their audience, and immediately they had people like, this is amazing. They're getting so much clarity. People who were like, I remember there was one example of somebody who already had a membership site, and people were thinking of leaving, and now they're staying because of the success path. So it's not about, like, if you ask people straight up if they want a membership or they want community, many times they're going to say no, because A, they're not clear about what that is, and B, that means nothing to them. It's about, like, communicating the benefit, and the benefit is clarity and direction. And when that's communicated in an effective way, you got them. That's the home run. So that's what I would say. Gary said, I have 3 audiences, and I'm not sure how to target my success path. One audience is recruiting firm owners with employees. The second group is solo recruiting firm owners. And the last group, how do I decide who to target the success path towards? Well, who's your market, Gary? That's what I would want to know. Like, who are you building the membership site for? Is it for the recruiting firm owners with employees? Is it for the solo recruiting firm owners? Or is it for employees / recruiters? That to me is like where you're gonna go with this, because obviously they're in my mind they're three different people. Like, you're gonna communicate with them all differently. Like, you're gonna communicate with the employees totally different than you would a recruiting firm owner, like somebody who owns the whole business, right? So that to me, Gary, always that's going to come back to the most important thing was you getting clear on who this is for, and then the success path obviously is going to be for that market. All right, so Nancy said, suggestions for a kick-ass freebie for sign-up. Best conversion factors or directions. Mine is a publisher mastery site. Okay, Nancy, this one's easy, girl. Here's what you got to do. You just got to make a list of your top problems or challenges that your market faces. Like, make a list. Try to aim for 10 different problems or challenges. Okay? Then what I would do is I would look to create a freebie that solves that one specific problem or challenge. It's a home run, because here's why. People want solutions. That's what they're searching for. That's what's gonna pull them in. That's what's gonna attract them in. Then once they've got that solution, that's like the first win. Now they've got momentum on their side. Now they want more. And that's when you cast the vision of like this just being one tiny piece of the overall plan, the overall success path. And now they're like, okay, I got it. Now I want in on the whole thing. It's like if I was teaching guys how to find the woman of their dreams. Like, just being able to talk to a woman and having a great conversation with a woman, that would be like the first step, right? Like that'd be like the first thing. Once they have that first conversation with a woman, now it's like, okay, like how do I follow up? How do I get in touch with her again? How do I stay in touch with her? How do I become, build a deeper relationship with them? How do I, eventually get married to them? Like, but the first thing is just on a very small scale is just how do you communicate, or how do you even chat to a woman? How do you open a conversation up with the woman that you want to talk to? That would be a very specific focus. So Nancy, for you, make a list of all the top problems or challenges, external problems and challenges that your market faces, and I would look to create a freebie around that. Okay, I'm not sure who asked this question, but it says, my list is very chilly, ice cold. 2 to 3 suggestions to warm it up, developing a new list via Q1, but warm up others on the list already. Okay, this one's easy. So what I would do is the exact same thing we just talked to Nancy about. I would create a list of top problems or challenges that your market faces, and I would create short little videos that speaks to those. So like when I was gearing up for the tribe launch, one of the things that my brother-in-law challenged me to do was to create Facebook Live content every single weekday. And at first I was like, dude, that's a lot. Like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to keep pace with that? Like, I don't know if I can do that. And he's like, but Stu, we need content to be able to work with. Like, we need to be able to warm this list up. And he was absolutely right. So what I did was I just focused on questions that my market faces. And so I mentioned this before, like in the first email that somebody gets from me when they sign up to my email list, at the bottom in the PS, I would say, like, PS, what's your number one question about building, launching, growing, and scaling a profitable membership site? Hit reply and let me know. People would hit reply, boom. Now, every single day, I had questions coming in. And so what that did was that gave me a jump-off point for which I could then begin creating great content. And so that's my advice. If you want to warm up a list, just start delivering value. Just honestly, that's the best way to do it. Now, if you don't want to create the content yourself, then I would go out and I would find content that is really good for your market. So I would put yourself in the role of like, how could I deliver something amazing to my audience this week. And I'd be on the hunt every week to find some great material, some great things. And then I would just share it with your audience. So that's what I'd recommend. But to me, the best way is to start with questions that your audience already have, and then create content around that. All right, let's see here. Oh, by the way, if you guys want it right now, let me know. Because this kind of relates. Like, would you want me to quickly just do a 5-minute session here on how I structure content that I teach on like Facebook Lives and anything? Would you, if you want me to teach that now, just put now in the question box. Okay. Okay, so let's, wow. All right, so we'll go now. You guys are amazing. I'll just do it real quick, okay? I don't have any like PowerPoints or slides or anything, so you just have to write these down. With a piece of paper, I want you to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want you to write down the five numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Have you got it? Okay, so when I am teaching something, there are 5 things that I use as my framework for how I'm going to teach. And here's what they are. The first thing is the objective. So this is objective / hook. Okay, so I want you to write down beside the number 1, objective / hook. Oh, sweet. Dude, you're awesome. Okay, here we go. Man, my brother-in-law is awesome. Objective / hook. You heard me talking about this. He brought in some paper. Okay, so the first thing is your objective / hook. Here's what I mean. When you're doing a Facebook Live or you're teaching content, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to grab people's attention to and set up the rest of what you're about to teach. Okay, so for example, like on Monday, I had a client fly into Toronto with his team, and I did a full day consultation with him. And he's got a great following on Facebook, but he's never done a Facebook Live. He was afraid of the technology. And I was like, dude, let's do one right now. And he's like, serious? I said, yeah, let's do one right now. So before we went live, I said, okay, he is a strength trainer. So the dude is just like got muscles coming out of every which area of his body. Like the dude is jacked. And so I said, okay, so he's a strength trainer. He's been one of the world's top strength trainers for years, like over 38 years he's been in this business. And he's worked with all kinds of Olympic athletes, pro athletes, high-powered executives. In fact, he had a number of athletes win medals at the Olympics. He had the first woman who won a gold medal for the U.S. was one of his clients. He had one of his clients win a silver medal in the long jump. Like, he's just got tons of accolades. So I said to him, I said, how do you get clients? How do you get new clients? And he said, it's all referrals. And I said, well, why would people refer you? And he said, very simple. Help them get results. And I said, interesting. Okay, so that was my hook. So what I wrote down, I said the hook that I had was the number 1 way to attract world-class clients. Do you see how that's a hook? Okay, so the number 1 way to attract world-class clients. That's what I wrote down as the hook. Okay, number 2, after you have a hook, then you want to go into the second component, which is a story. Doesn't need to be a long story, but it's got to be a relevant story. So what was my story? My story was the guy, Charles, who was there. So I basically said, it was something like this. You can see it on my Facebook page. You'll see it. I followed this exact formula. And I said, in this live training, I'm going to share with you the #1 way to attract world-class clients. Now, this came from Charles, who for 38 years has built a very successful business as a fitness trainer, training Olympic athletes, pro athletes, high-powered executives. In fact, it's the exact story I've shared with you just a minute ago. You know, and I shared like a number of his athletes just received medals at the Rio Olympics. So it's a short little story, okay, that kind of sets it all up. That's the second component. Then what I do, my third component, is I deliver 3 to 5 teaching points. Okay. So the third thing is 3 to 5 teaching points. So I always ask myself, what are the 3 to 5 things somebody needs to do to accomplish the hook or the promise or the objective in #1? And so I'm always trying to think of 3 to 5 things. Okay? Then my fourth point is a summary of what I just taught. So 1 is objective, 2 is story, 3 to 5 teaching points, and then a summary. And I apologize that that's backwards, but you have to bear with me. And then the fifth thing that I have is some CTA or call to action. Okay? So let's talk about this. So the 3 to 5 teaching points is I don't want to overwhelm people. Like too often, I mean, you heard me hammer this home. You heard me talk about this a lot in module 1 and 2, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. It doesn't matter whether you're teaching free content, paid content, membership content, course content, does not matter. The last thing that you want to do is overwhelm people. That's why like 5 teaching points is probably pushing it. Like I am always aiming for 3. Like that's my sweet spot. I try never to go too much further than 3 because the reality of it is people lose it. People forget it. In fact, if you could do 2 to 3, that's probably a better number to aim for. And so keep it simple. You don't have to go into like the history of everything, but you do need to give people, you know, some clarity, like the 3 to 5 or 2 to 3 points. Then what I do is the summary, step number 4, is I bring it all back together. And I learned this from one of the most amazing speakers, unfortunately, who's no longer with us. His name was Charlie Tremendous Jones. And I remember seeing him early in my career. This was 2002. I heard him speak. He's just a phenomenal man and a phenomenal speaker. And one of the things that I'll never forget him teaching was he said, tell him what you're going to tell him, and then tell him what you told him. Tell him what you're going to tell him, and tell him what you told him. That was one of the major things I learned from him. And then the other thing that I learned from him was he said, you never make a point without a story, and you never tell a story without a point. You never make a point without a story, and you never have a story without a point. And so that's why this framework, it like fits all of that perfectly. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. I also, a couple of years ago, went through a communications training with a gentleman by the name of Ken Davis. He has a training called SCORE, SCORRE. And it was really, really good. It helped me really tighten my communication up. This is an even more condensed version of what he teaches. I just like to keep it super simple for myself. But this is how I follow these 5. Number 1, I have an objective/hook. Number 2, I have a story. Number 3, I have 2 to 3 teaching points. Number 4, I summarize it. And number 5, I have a call to action. So the summary, I would say, so today, if you want to learn, so to attract let's say the number one way to attract world-class clients is by following these 3 steps. Teaching point 1, teaching point 2, teaching point 3. And then that would be the summary. And then I would wrap that up with the call to action. I always have a call to action, even if it's free stuff, even if you have nothing to promote. The call to action would be leave a comment or like or something to that nature. If you do have something to promote, then you would tell them about a URL to go to. Like as I was leading up to the tribe training, like what I would do is I would say, now if you like this, we got a whole lot more coming up, absolutely free in the workshop on August 18th. All you need to do is just go to tribeworkshop.com. It's like it was ingrained in me. Like as we were building up, I started mentioning that URL more and more and more and more and more. That was the call to action. So that's the framework that I use. So now when you see me do a Facebook Live, like when I'll probably do one, tomorrow for my Facebook page. You'll see this exact structure in place. I start number 1 with the objective or the hook. Number 2 with a number 3 with 2 to 3 teaching points. Number 4, I summarize it, and number 5, a call to action. That's it. Super straightforward and simple, right? But here's the thing. That little framework gives you a track to run on. Like now you have, it's so easy to spin off content. So if somebody asks me a question about membership sites or about like building a business or whatever the question is, I'll tighten that up into like a nice hook. If I don't have a story, guess what the story is? The story is I just got this question from so-and-so, and I would like literally show the question. That's the story. And then boom, I would have it 2 to 3 teaching points. And then from there, I would summarize it and then a call to action. Super simple, right? Like, but once you've got frameworks like this, cranking out content is easy. It's not difficult because all you're doing is you're just boom, 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 slotting it in. So I use this framework when I'm doing Facebook Live videos. We use this framework similarly for blog posts. Like obviously those are a little bit more expanded, but I use a similar framework for almost everything that I teach. And so hopefully that has been helpful. Let me know in the questions. Just give me a TU if that helped at all. Just so, let me see here. You guys are awesome. All right, sweet. I'm glad it was helpful. TU, awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. Hugely helpful, said Jeff. Thank you, guys. Scott said, right, really in line with what I've been advising people. Sweet, awesome. Thank you, Jabril. You guys are great. Man, I love this. I love our group. Okay, so here's the other thing I would say. Anytime that you can weave in a story about yourself, not in an egotistical way, but just like in a way that you have learned something, it just helps you connect with your audience at a deeper level. Not every story by any means has got to be about yourself, but I would just encourage you to be mindful of like when things are happening in your life to make a note of that. Like I'll tell you one thing that's happening for me. Like yesterday, it's been a while since I've been working out with a trainer because my old trainer, he went back to university, and so we couldn't get our schedules lined up, and so I wasn't training with him, and so then I wasn't training at all. And I still run a couple times a week, but man, I'm not in the best shape that I want to be in. And so I started working with a trainer again yesterday. Wake up call. Holy man, like I was feeling it. I was hurting. And it just reminded me like of just how difficult it is when you've been at a certain level and then you're starting down here and now you're trying to progress back up to that level. Like for me, like I was always thinking like, oh, it's not gonna take me that long to get back up to that speed. Like, no problem. I'll be there in no time. That's not the reality though, right? Like it takes time. And so like when you're starting anything, even if you're starting things back up for a second or third time, it's difficult. So like after yesterday's experience, when I was like nearly puking after working out, I was thinking about this. And I'm like, okay, boom, I got to make a note of that. Like I was saving that. I'm like, that's a good like that's a story that I'll be able to tell later on. Like I'm gonna obviously think more in detail about it, but you just got the raw piece of it. But that's a story that I could definitely tell. Another story, like when I was coming back from Hungary last week with my wife, we're coming through the airport, and there's like 3 places you could walk. You could just walk normal. You could go on like this escalator, or there was like the super fast escalator, right? Like the super fast walkway. And it reminded me of how like the story that I had. I immediately took a picture of it just to prove it, because I want you guys to see how this is exactly what I do all the time. So I see this walkway, and I was thinking that's like a perfect thing to talk about, like life. Life is like that. There's people that try to do things the hard way by themselves. There's people that invest a little bit in themselves, and then there's people who get a mentor and they just take off. And so it's just, I'm always on the lookout for these kinds of things. Like here we go, look, boom. This is so funny. You guys are gonna laugh. You guys think I'm joking? I ain't joking. This is real, y'all. Look, let me see if I can turn this sideways. Look, this is my wife in the airport on the three things, So over here was where you could walk normal. This was the medium escalator. This was like the super fast one. This one would take you like from one end all the way to the other end. This one had stop-off points, so that's why we were taking this one, because we had to go to the washroom. So I'm always looking for stuff like that, like stories that I can make note of. If I could grab a picture, that's even more powerful because it adds some dimension to the story. But that's how you create content fast, my friends, is you use a framework like this that we talked about, and then you're always on alert for stories and things like that you can use in your teaching. And you may not have any idea how you're going to use it, but it's a good story, so just make a note of it. Like, make a note of it while it's fresh, and what I do is I save them in Evernote, and then every now and then I'll look through them and refresh my memory on them, and oftentimes I'm able to use them in different things that I teach. So hopefully that helps. You guys are great. Liz asked, did I train with Charles? No, I didn't. Liz, if I trained with Charles, I'd probably be hurting even more. But the funny thing was, my trainer definitely knew who Charles was, and he's like, dude, like, you were hanging out with him? And I was like, yeah, he hired me for a day of consulting. He's like, dude, you know who he is, right? And I'm like, yeah, he's like one of the world's top strength trainers. He's like, man, everybody in the gym like all idolize Charles. It was pretty fun. Okay. Let's get to some more questions here as we look to cruise through here. So Darlene said, how often do I keep in touch with people on your wait list? I would maintain connection with the people on the wait list probably once a week. And here's what you want to do. You want to send them, like blog posts that you're creating, little videos that you found online that could be of help, Facebook Lives, videos. You definitely want to keep that list warm. A big mistake that a lot of people make is they build this great wait list and then they don't stay in touch with them. They don't keep that list warm, and so what happens is that by the time they go to do a wait list promo, the list is cold and it doesn't convert. So keep in touch with the list, Darlene. So I would recommend once a week. Okay, Carla said, can Stu unmute my microphone? Time sensitive. I'm preparing to open up my enrollment in a beta launch of a membership club for teen girls next week during my keynote presentation to hundreds of girls. My goal is to get their feedback in shaping the community aspect, so I will probably offer a free trial for 30 days. My biggest challenge is figuring out how to effectively offer a positive community aspect for the girls and preventing online bullying, which is a huge issue with teen girls, the opposite of my message and site. I have had firsthand experience with girls sending me disturbing inbox messages when they are in crisis. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask my team if they can help me out here. We've got to find. Sandra, can you help me find Carla? I'm not sure how you guys did it last time. Let me see. Oh, wait. I might be able to find. Okay, okay. We've got two Carlas. Is it Carla Stokes or Carla Wood? Okay, Carla Stokes. Perfect. Okay, Carla, here we go. I got it. Unmute Carla. Oh. Carla, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yay, Carla. Okay, cool. We got it. Okay, so I think I got the gist of what you're saying. You're getting ready to launch your membership for teen girls. What's the membership focused on?
So I'm a success coach, and I am a teen girl health expert. So I focus on friendship, self-esteem, different challenges that girls are facing during the teenage years, and I also provide support to parents. So I've just been getting a lot of people who want me to mentor their daughters, but I just can't do it one-on-one. So I want to be able to provide inspiration, tips on different topics, like a monthly theme every month. But I know that the girls, just from talking to some teens that I mentor, they do want a community component. They feel like that's important. So I just want to get this thing going. I have a huge opportunity with over 500 girls next week, and I just want to have them be the beta group. I've literally had this idea for 10 years, and the thing that stopped me is in my nonprofit, we had an online site like way before all the technology was out, like 1999, early 2000s, and I just got so freaked out from all of the girls that would contact me with this crisis stuff that I just didn't want to include the community aspect, but the girls say that they really want it. So I'm just wondering if you have any ideas.
Yeah, what I think is really going to be important for you, Carla, is to establish like values and rules of engagement for your community. We'll talk more about this in the upcoming retention module, but here's the bottom line. Like, you want to give your girls something to aspire to, and like that's one thing. And then the second thing is you want to have like rules of conduct, if you will, so that you prevent like any bullying and you just don't stand for it. It's just like a perfect example. In Tribe, we had a real negative Nancy, I would say. You know, like, no offense to Nancy, who's, you know, on this call. That's not who I'm talking about. But you understand what I'm saying. Like, this one person, there was a couple people actually who were just like very negative, very confrontational, and it created a cancer. Those are cancerous people. And so when you have a rules of engagement, if people violate those rules, they're gone. They're gone. You have to kick them out. And what that does is that strengthens the culture that you want to create inside of your community. When you stand up for your community and you say we're not standing for this, then what happens is it strengthens that community and helps you focus on the things that you do want. So I think that's really important. I think it's going to be important for you to talk about the vision for where this is all going and why this is important for them in their lives right now. I think you want to talk about like the values that you and your community hold dear to your heart, and then I think you want to talk about rules of conduct. You know, what is good and what is bad, and when people violate the bad, what's going to happen? Which I recommend you remove them from your community. So to me, that's going to be the biggest thing. The other thing that I would say to you, Carl, is who's going to pay for this membership? Is it the girls themselves or their parents?
That was the second part of the question I posted. It's the parent, and that's because, well, they usually have the money, but also I want them to check the liability waiver. So my shopping cart will allow the parent to purchase for their daughter, which is really cool. But the challenge I have is a lot of times I'm either speaking in front of the girls and the parents aren't there. So, you know, it's like, how do I what do I give them when they're in person and they want to join? Something they can give their parents. Or I might be speaking to a parent who wants their daughter to join, but the daughter doesn't really know who I am.
Yeah, this is why I asked, and you're thinking right along the appropriate lines. you want to have something to equip the girls to be able to communicate the value to the parents and vice versa. You want something where the parents can position this so that it is a cool thing for the girls, right? And so to me, that's about scripting, and maybe it's like a handout that you can send, or maybe it's a handout that I'm just thinking out loud here. But during your presentation, maybe it's a handout that has some fill in the blanks where the girls are filling in like why it's important to them, and then that's something that they could deliver to their parents. So it's almost like it goes from being a piece of sales material to now it has much more significance because the girls themselves have established value for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I really like that. So not something that would get the parent on my email list.
Yeah, you could have something. Yeah, you could have something there that would be like where the parents could go to opt in, and you would speak to them totally different than you would the girls.
Yeah.
But the way I'm thinking is like in that moment when you're in front of the girls are going to be inspired. The girls are going to be like, I want in on this. And so you have to equip them to be able to communicate it clearly to their parents in terms of the value and the benefit of why the parents should pony up to join the membership.
Do you think that, initially I was just thinking since it's beta testing, I would just give them like a 30-day free trial, which might make it kind of easier. Would you agree with that, or just start charging?
Yeah, you could totally do that. But still, at some point, you're going to have the kids are going to have that conversation.
Yeah.
At the end of that free trial, the credit card information's got to be entered at some point. And so that's what I would just recommend. Like you gotta have the language that your girls can, communicate with their parents accordingly.
Okay. Can I ask you one quick clarifying question about the community thing? What you mentioned?
Sure.
Could it be
Keep it tight though, Carla.
Okay. Could it be as simple as letting them just have a Q&A call and chat with me initially instead of like constantly having the comments open? Like I could just turn off the chat or the comments, and then I don't have to worry about all of the posting things at 2 o'clock in the morning about wanting to cut themselves or kill themselves, like things that I've experienced before.
Yeah, definitely. And I would, again, to me, like, because you've already had the experience of knowing that could potentially happen, what I would do is I would give your girls, like, a course of action if those are the things that they're thinking and feeling. You know what I mean? Like, and I would explain, like, in those scenarios, this is not, we're not trained professionals to help you with that, and I want you to get the help of a trained professional. And giving them the resources as to where they should go. I think that's important that you communicate that way up front. But the thing is that with the girls, more than anything, like one of the reasons that they're wanting the community aspect is to be able to interact and engage with each other.
Yeah.
So my concern is if you shut that off, it may definitely affect the community aspect. What you could do, though, is you could also empower the other girls to recognize when one of your fellow, I don't know what you're going to call the membership, but like if it was tribe, I'd say like when one of your fellow tribers is in trouble or needs help, like how to rally around them and how to help support them and how to get them back on track and get them the support that they need. You know what I mean? So that may be something that you talk about in your values and talk about how you support one another, how you come together, and how you and then how to go about doing that.
That's super helpful. Thank you so much.
All right, Carla. Good luck, buddy. I look forward to hearing about how it all goes.
Thank you so much.
All right, cool. All right, good deal. All right, we've got 10 minutes. Let me fire through some quick questions. Okay, so yes, a few people were asking what JV means. JV means like joint venture, or another word for it would be affiliate. So somebody who is promoting your membership on your behalf, and when they refer people who then sign up, you give them a sales commission. That's essentially what that relationship looks like. Mari said, for marketing a module drip membership, does it all go in one core course, or can it be in 2 parts? Do I give them everything up front? No, I still think you have a separate core, training or core course, and then you start dripping it out thereafter. So I think they're two separate things. Remember, the core course or training is casting the vision of where this is all going. Show them like where all the pieces fit. Show them how in the drip module how things are going to be progressing, how one thing builds on another, and how the beginning is important, and that sets the foundation and continues to grow that way. So that's the core training that I would do. Okay, I think it's Pi said, I have built an audience in Facebook, but I'd like to direct these audience from this page to a new company Facebook page of new small products until the primary product development is to keep the current page public. Do you think that is doable? I've built an audience in Facebook, but now I'd like to direct these. Yes, I think you just leverage one to the other. So I think maybe you release content on your company Facebook page, and then you share it on your existing Facebook page, and you encourage people to like the company page for more content, relevant content like that. So I definitely think it's doable. I've seen many people do it. I've seen many people leverage their Facebook page into building an email list as well. Obviously, I've seen people talk about Facebook groups leveraging, and we're going to talk a lot about that here in the upcoming weeks when we have the bonuses. So yeah, you can definitely do it. The key thing is that your see you guys, your corporate or your company Facebook page is not dormant. Like, you want activity on there. You've got to produce activity on there. You got to produce content on there, because otherwise there's no reason for people to like it and visit it and come back to it. So just make sure that company page, you've got stuff happening. Okay, Chuck asked, for christianblogging.com, I have 2 Success Paths and 2 sets of external internals. How to determine what talents God has given you and how to use them, and how to set up and go with a blog. Is it okay to have 2 Success Paths on one? I just see them as totally tied together for my goal. To me, one leads to the other, right? So like Chuck, what I would say is that one success path leads to the other success path. Once somebody is clear on what talents they're going to use and how to use them, now the next thing is that how do I communicate that and how do I go about doing that? That's with the blog, and that's what you're going to teach them. So to me, one leads into the other. So I think it's fine if you have 2, but remember, you want people to be able to determine where they're at. So like if they're not clear, then you want to emphasize to them that they stay focused on that first success path. If they are clear, now it's about, okay, now how do you leverage that with a blog? And now that's the second one. So I just give people a way to be able to quickly identify like where they're at in that process, and then you can direct them accordingly. Okay, so Tiana said, I just wrapped up my first launch of my product, which is a course. I didn't have as many sales as I was hoping for, so if I were to reopen it for a week or something with some incentives, have you ever done that, or just skip doing that and just skip doing that? And then she had another question. Okay, so Tiana, let's first talk about this. So if you didn't sales as you were hoping for in the first time you did it, to me that says something like there's a messaging problem. And the messaging problem is almost always tied to like not hitting on the external or internal problems or challenges that your market is facing. You may be skirting around it somehow. You may think it's one thing, but it's really another. So to me, like Tiana, I would encourage you to dig a little deeper, ask a few more questions with your audience, and really try to narrow in and nail down their external and internal problems. Like almost always, like not every offer that I have ever made has been a home run, not by a long shot. In fact, the perfect example was one of our top JV partners for Tribe. The first promotion that he sent out to his list was a dud. Like it did not get anywhere near the results. And so he and I jumped on the phone. We talked about it. It was a messaging problem. He tweaked the messaging. He ended up being our #2 JV. Like, his sales just skyrocketed. It's almost always a messaging problem. One promotion I remember specifically we were doing for Platform University, it was doing okay, but it wasn't nothing to write home about. So we were concerned. We dug a little deeper. It was a messaging problem. We tweaked the messaging, and almost all, like right away, we saw the difference in response, and sales just took off. It ended up becoming our most successful promotion up to that point. And so, Tiana, what I would say is that if you didn't experience the results you were hoping for, it's almost always a messaging problem. Go back to Module 1, dig deeper, look into the external, internal problems and challenges, and really camp out there. To me, that's where you'll get the most leverage. Now, in terms of the second question, which was how far in between launches, like should you do launches? That totally depends. If the course is the one thing that you've got and there's nothing else on the docket, maybe you do it 3 times a year. If you've got other things that you're promoting, then I would probably maybe do that twice a year. Yeah, so that's probably that's the rhythm that I get into. Typically, like for most of my clients, they have 2 things that we focus on in the business. One is a primary or signature course. Second is a membership site. And so I look every year to do 4 primary promotions, 1 a quarter. And so there's 2 promotions for the membership, 1 for the course, and that leaves 1 open for something else. So that's typically the business model that I look toward. Now, if you don't have a membership yet, and in your case you just got the course, then you may want to use those 4 primary promotions for the course. Once you launch your membership, then you're going to work that in, so you'll reduce the number of promotions for the course, and you're going to have some promotions there for the membership. Okay, so Renee said, is there a great resource that makes the business case for membership sites? Need to include some facts, numbers for the business plan. This is a great question, and it kind of leads to, like, this is a perfect example of at the beginning of the call when I was talking about some of the goodies that we've got coming down the pipeline for you. Like, one of the membership site ideas that we have is where we go deep into the numbers behind membership sites, like a debrief of that. So we're definitely going to start covering a lot of that in this upcoming membership, which you're going to get free access to for 3 months, and you're going to see the behind the scenes of us like creating it and launching it. I mean, we weren't planning on doing that at all. It wasn't on the schedule at all, but we'll be taking you through that. So Renee, I think you'll get some value there. But what I will say is there are some industry reports, and man, years ago, let me see if I can find it. Hang with me. Man, I can't find it right now, Renee, but I'll see if I can dig it up. There was a site called, yeah, I'll see if I can find it for you, but I don't have it available to me right now. Okay, so Don said, what platform technology-wise that you resource would you pick beginning from scratch? Don, the answer to that is it really depends. We're going to come out with a little resource that I think is going to help everybody that's got questions about which platform to pick, because it really depends. There's key questions that I would ask. Number one, I'd ask, like, are you comfortable with technology? Yes or no. If you are, then there's a different set of platforms. If you're not, then I would definitely recommend going with a hosted platform. Things like Kajabi, basic setup with ClickFunnels, etc. There are other hosted platforms. If you're more comfortable with technology, then there's other options, right? So we're going to come out with a little decision tree, almost checklist, that will help guide your thinking on that, because that question has come up a few times, and we definitely want to help you. So hang tight, Don. We're working on a resource to help you guys with that. Rob asked, what's the most surprising lesson you learned helping launch Platform U? Most surprising lesson. Okay, well, initially, Rob, the membership site was open all the time. And the surprising lesson that I think, and I've taught it, I taught you the surprising lesson in Tribe, was that we closed it. We switched from an open marketing plan to a closed marketing plan. Now that worked for that particular site. It doesn't work for all sites. You know, some sites are definitely more appropriately open all the time. But for Platform U, it worked, and I was scared out of my mind. Like when we were open all the time, and then we went down to 4 promotions per year, that scared the living, out of me. Then we went from 4 down to 2, and each promotion got increasingly way bigger, and made and attracted so many more members than we did with 4 promotions. It was crazy. That was a huge eye opener for me. Let me think. Oh, another big one, definitely. And I kind of knew this intuitively, but like when we went down, when we reduced the number of promotions, it gave us more time to really make the promotions that we did do great. And I'm telling you, like, so many people shortchange their promotions and their ability, see you guys, shortchange their promotional power behind a membership site because it's a lower price product. They'll put all the promotional weight behind a high price course, but they don't for a membership site, and it's a mistake. You put the same promotional power behind a membership site, you're not going to add hundreds, you're going to add thousands and thousands of members. And so that was another big lesson learned. Okay, gang, I've got to wrap up because we've gone, if you can believe it, almost 2 hours. I'm going to answer one more question here, and then I'm going to say goodbye. And we've got 10 and 10 tomorrow. Then we've also got Module 4 coming up, which is all about retention. And then the other thing I would say is, like, we've got all these amazing bonuses coming up, right? So we've got the list building bonus, which we're going to be talking about. We're going to put those in the members area in terms of the calendar, so you guys know when we're going to start doing those. Which is where we're going to show you behind the scenes of how, like, 3 different people who didn't have an expertise, didn't have an audience or following, built up a huge audience, thousands of people, using a free Facebook group. And so we're going to show you exactly what they did, how they cultivated that community, and how they built that up. That's all coming up. Then the second bonus that we've got coming up is the behind the scenes of us sharing the strategy of launching a brand new membership site. Now, the good news is that we've got 2. We're actually going to be doing 2 different sites. We're going to share this over time so you can kind of see the strategy, because we're not going to be able to launch both at the same time. The first one is the original idea that we were anticipating on doing, and as I said earlier, that was born on a pain point of mine that we are now developing a whole membership site around. So we'll talk about the strategy, we'll talk about the content, the type of site, we'll talk about how we're going to market it and plan it, and then you'll see us actually market it, and you'll get to see the behind the scenes, like whether it works or not. Fingers crossed it does. Then the second one, you'll actually get to participate in, because we're going to give you 3 months access to the second one, and we'll share, again, the behind the scenes of, again, the structure of the site, the strategy behind the content and how we're doing it, and how we're going to way over deliver in terms of value, while still at the same time minimizing the time that it takes to be able to produce that high value, and being really efficient and smart with that. And so you'll see the strategy behind that. And then we've got the meetups. So if anybody's in the LA area next week, it's either Friday or Saturday. I'll be nailing down that date and time real soon. We're going to have a Tribe meetup for everybody who's going to Jeff Walker's Launch Con, or anybody who's in the LA area. It's going to be right by the LAX airport. Then we're going to have another meetup in Toronto sometime soon before the end of the year. We're going to do another one in Australia in March. So much goodness coming down the pipeline. Oh, shabam, awesome. So Andrew just told me we released another bonus inside the members area yesterday. So if you haven't logged in since yesterday, go log in. It's a 3-part mini-series specifically on some extras that in terms of how I structure content and some extra goodies there. So actually, let me show you. Let me see if I'm going to log in right now and just you guys will see. Okay, let me just let's see. I think this was in. Yeah. All right. So I'll show you guys this. Hang on one second. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen so you guys can see, and then I'll show you where to find this. So, all right, just to check in with you, can you see my screen? Just give me a yes real quick that you can see the screen. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Cheryl, David, B, Carla. Okay, awesome. All right, so here we are inside the members area. What you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to module number 2, content strategies. You're going to click in here. Then what you're going to do is you are going to come up to the top and you're going to scroll up the top navigation here. And you scroll over all the way over. And you'll find, look at all these bonus lessons. Yeah, baby. So the first bonus we got here is deeper research. We released that a while ago. But here's the other bonuses. 1, selling through stories. So this is how, this is part 1. This is how I sell through stories. And you're going to hear like the structure and how we format the stories and all that kind of stuff. So it's a 3-part series. So you'll be able to have access to how I sell by using stories. And stories are the most powerful way to sell. I tell you exactly how to do it in that 3-part bonus series. So again, that's in the content module. Just scroll all the way over and you'll find those bonus lessons. How cool is that, right? So for example, let's just click there. So here it is, part 1. And we went and filmed these as extras. So this is part 1, selling with stories. There I am in my office. Look at that. So we did a little mini series on selling through stories. So that's now available. So that's in module number 2. Then, if you haven't seen it yet, we also released another module bonus. You can see here the whole launch debrief. So you can access that just right from, it's in between module 2 and 3. And we've got more to come. So lots of goodies inside the members area. And if you haven't checked those out yet, go and do that. Thank you, Mary. Mary's like epic and valuable. Yaz said, I did not see that. Amazing. Thank you, Steve. You're welcome, buddy. Thank you, B. B said, great stuff. You guys are awesome. So go check those out. Have a great weekend. You're welcome, Holly. You guys are, look at all these like thank yous and Oli. Anna's like, Oli. Thank you, Anko. Marianne, you guys are amazing. Okay, so go have a great weekend. Lots to look forward to. You got more content in there. We just released that bonus series. We got more bonuses coming up, as I mentioned. We're going to be digging deep. I can't wait. I mean, I'm going to be grilling the people that we're going to be speaking to about that, how they launch these communities from nothing. So I'm just as curious to learn from them. You know, because one gentleman, he grew a group, his is over 5,000. Another one is over 11,000. Another one's closing in on 20,000. And I want to know how they did it. I want to know how they did it so quickly. I want to know how they did it from scratch. So I am going to be going deep on that with them. I can't wait to produce that. And there's so many. I've already been speaking to a couple of them about what we're going to be sharing. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, the behind the scenes. Like that's what I was just sharing with the guys. That's why I was a little bit late. We're talking behind the scenes for the podcast. That's, by the way, another thing I mentioned this morning. People were asking. They said they'd be interested to see the behind the scenes of the podcast launch. So I'm making a note of that here. We got nothing but goodies to share with you guys. I love our tribe community. We got such an amazing community, and yeah, so lots to look forward to. Whew. All right, gang, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have yourselves a great weekend, and I will see you we're not at the weekend yet, but I'll see you tomorrow for 10 and 10, and then we're into the weekend, and then next week I look forward to seeing so many of you in LA when we have the meetup. And if you can't make the meetup, no problem. We're going to see each other on the 10 and 10s. We may have some guests. You want some? By the way, do you think that'd be cool? Do you want to see some guests next week on the 10 and 10s? Should we invite some other cool people? Because next week I'm going to be in LA for the whole week for my high-end mastermind, and there's lots of incredible people. Okay, cool. You guys want to see? All right, I'll loop some other people in there, and I'll keep you posted on that. So with that, have yourselves a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.